Welcome to the second episode of News from the Front. Khador versus the Protectorate of Menoth. It is Vlad 3 versus the Harbinger of Menoth on the Steamroller 2015 scenario, Fire Support. This scenario has Killbox, and it has 2 flags and 2 objectives. The friendly flag, which is the one that has the objective facing you towards your table edge, can only be dominated for 1 control point. The enemy flag can be controlled for 1 control point or dominated for 2 control points, and destroying the enemy objective gives you 1 control point. The first to 5 control points wins the game, or via, of course, assassination. I won the roll-off to go first, and so I decided to go first. And you can find the army lists for the game that you see here in the video description below. So I have already deployed, and my only advanced deploy in this list is Eiryss 2. So the Protector player is now setting up his army with his Temple Flame Guard in the front first, and he's just continuing to set up. Now, as in regards to these battle reports, as I've mentioned in the first episode, there will be more of these kind of battle reports as it requires much less time for me to edit, so there will of course be more of these. Now, of course, that means that the Battles from the Frontline series will not end, it'll just be less of them. Now we're having our advanced deploy go off with me placing Eiryss essentially right in front of my Uhlans, and then the exemplar errants are now advanced deploying as well, essentially in front of the Uhlans as well. Then he has Rax to advance deploy as well, and then the game will begin. This Vlad 3 list is kind of non-traditional, which most people play the theme force, and I've done that for a while, and we have the game begin. I allocate 1 over to Beast 09, and Vlad goes first, and he casts Dash and Infernal Machine, and then he checks his controller to see who is affected, and then I ask about the exemplar errants, mainly about their range, and then Vlad goes and he advances. And that should end his activation right there. But right before he finishes moving, he casts Hand of Fate onto the Uhlans. Beast 09 ran up, and then the Winter Guard then run up as well with that oh so nice dash. Don't you just like Speed 7 Winter Guard? Isn't it just nice that everything can run so fast? And look at that, I'm already essentially at the halfway at the table. Then Joe goes, he activates, he puts up Fearless and Tough onto the Winter Guard, and he runs up quite speedy as well. The Uhlans then activate, and they run, staying in defensive line formation, loving that oh so nice armor 19. And they're of course getting in the way of Vlad to block line of sight. Then we have Kovnik Markov go, and he runs to be behind the Uhlans, giving them their pseudo-martial discipline. Then we have the best 1 point in the game, the War Dog, activate and run around to be behind Vlad. Then we have the Manor Dracoon run to be behind the Uhlans. Then we have Fenris to be to the left side of the Uhlans with Aiyana and Holt finishing up the turn, and they're running as well, and the turn is passed over to the Protectorate player. There is a clock below where the camera was sitting on the table, so unfortunately I wasn't able to. I tried figuring out how to set up the clock so it can be seen on camera, but angles weren't working out quite well, so oh well. He allocates 1 to each of his heavies, and then he's deciding what to do. Then he asks what my upkeeps are. Now I have Hand of Fate on the Uhlans, and he does Purification first. Then he had the book activate and put up Flaming Weapons to models that are within its 10-inch command. So then when the exemplar errants go up, and they're just shuffling around in their nice heavy armor, looking to take some shots at the Uhlans. So then he takes a shot at Fenris. He is in range. He hits. Then Fenris is set on fire, and he takes some damage. Quite a bit, actually. Then he's still shooting, setting my Uhlans on fire, and not really doing much damage, as these are only PAL 10 crossbows. But he wants the fire to go off, more so than actually doing damage. Mainly just to have extra rolls that could possibly inflict damage. So then we have a Winter Guard set on fire, and he is knocked down. And we have another shot going, and they're out of range. And then with this shot goes at an Uhlan, he hits. And so far the Uhlans have taken no damage from this, but they're still being set on fire. Somehow crossbows, well actually no, there's plenty of historical references that there's some flaming arrows, but I don't see how, whatever, it's magic. Temple Flame Guard then move up in shield wall, and they're being in clumps of 3. Then the rest of them move up to finish their activation with the unit leader all the way in the back. Then a Reckoner activates and he just runs. Another Reckoner activates and he runs. Then a Crusader activates and he runs. Just behind the Temple Flame Guard. Actually, no, he didn't run. He just advanced. And then we have the Revenger, whichever one that is the Light Arc node, since the Repenter and the Revenger sound so similar that I always get the two of them confused. Rupert then activates and he puts Tough and Fearless onto the Temple Flame Guard. Then the Choir activates and they put Passage on his jacks, meaning that they cannot be targeted by non-magical shooting. Then we have fire checks going on, and Fenris is not on fire. Then an Uhlan has his fire go out. Another Uhlan has his fire go out. Then another one goes out, and that kills the Winter Guard since he failed his fire check, and he's PAL 12 versus Armor 13, so he just automatically dies. Then we have Vlad checking his control area, deciding whether or not to allocate. Then I ask him to measure his distance because he measured his control, and I got an idea of what to do afterwards. Then then Aiyana and Holt actually go first, and Aiyana gives magical weapons to the Winter Guard, and Holt tried to take a shot at an Exemplar Errant, but he was out of range. Then Vlad goes, he casts Dash, then he checks Kill Box, and he checks again, and he's A-okay, he's out. And I check his control area to see if he's within an inch of the wall. Oh, and by the way, Harbor defeated. I forgot to mention that. So then we have Joe go, he puts a Fearless and Tough, and he takes a shot at an Errant. He hits, and he kills him, and he fails his Tough. Oh, that's right, he put Tough on the Errants on the Temple Flame Guard. Then we have the Winter Guard go, and they have Dash, so they're moving at a nice speed 7 here. Then he checks his control to make sure that I don't take any vicious PAL 14s and automatically killing his Winter Guard. So then I decide to take a shot at Iraq, and then he tells me that no matter what, even if it's magical, ranged attacks targeting Iraq automatically miss. So that's while it has a focus on it. So then I decide to take some CRA shots at this Reckoner over here, the painted one, and they have Hand of Fate, so their CRAs are quite nasty. And it looks like it dealt only 2 points. Then I'm doing more CRAs, checking their ranges, and this one hits and does some damage. Looks like 4 damage. Then so that means the Winter Guard are done. War Dog goes, he advances behind Vlad, just keeping to that 3 inches. Then we have the Dragoon go and Fenris go. They're just moving to the side so they don't take that PAL 14. Then I decide what to do with the Uhlans, and they just shift as well, blocking line of sight to Markov and getting in the way. Then Markov shifts around, and then we have Eiryss go. She walks around. She's running, actually. And that passes turn over to the Protector player, and he gets his focus back, allocates 1 to each, as yet again. Then he decides what to do. He's still deciding, So he's casting... No, he's still allocating here. Okay. Apologies if I sound lost with this narration. I always do. So Harbinger, it's Harbinger's activation, so he checks the kill box, and he's just a smidge, tiny smidge out. Then he casts Crusader's Call. That way the errants get charged quite fast. So now they're charging the Uhlans. The errants activate and they charge the Uhlans. So they're going after the Uhlans, hoping that they can take them out. And this guy charges Eiryss, and he just fails on Eiryss. So now they're nicely clumping up on the Uhlans, and the rest of them just run, and the standard runs to catch up. Then we have a charge attack going on an Uhlan. And he also put Guided Hand, or whatever the one that he gets an extra die on the first melee attack that model makes. So an Uhlans dies. Then we have another attack going on an Uhlans. He takes some damage. Then that Uhlans dies. And another one hits. And still checking. Apparently it didn't do any damage or something, since I wasn't working any damage. So now I check reach on Vlad, and I think he was engaging this errant again. That's right in front of Eiryss. So now he asks about Fenris, how much health he has left. Then we have a Reckoner go up, and he's going to take a shot at Fenris. He is in range. He boosts the hit, and then he boosts damage, and that knocks Fenris off of his horse. And we have the Temple Flame Guard go. They're shield walling. Yet again, because that's what they do. And I don't think they Iron Zeal this turn. I might be wrong. Yeah, they Iron Zeal this turn. Okay. That's the marker that you can see. That's right next to the shield wall icon. Shield wall marker. Right below the hill. Then we have Reckoner go. He charges a Winter Guard. And then he does Assault Shot first, and that hits, and that kills, forces a tough, and he toughs that thing. Then we have a melee attack hits, and that just kills him. I probably didn't roll a tough roll. And he's now doing, he's buying attacks that he bought, I don't know what happened. Oh, that's right, that's because he spent one to charge, so he's done here. Then the Crusader goes, walks, same with the Repenter and the book. The book puts up no knockdown. Rupert is somewhere here, but he puts up Fearless and Tough onto the Temple Flame Guard. And we have a pause here. I don't know why. It's my turn now. That's why. So now I'm looking at Markov. Looking at my cards to decide what to do, and as well as, of course, and Eiryss goes. She takes a shot at the Reckoner and disrupts him, since the Winter Guard right there is knocked down, so the Reckoner's not engaged. So I basically just hit. I just hit the Reckoner on not snakes. Then Holt goes. He fires at this errant. Then the War Dog goes, charges the errant, kills him, since Holt apparently couldn't do anything to this errant. Then Vlad goes, checks his control area, checks it one more time, checks it yet again. Then I go to the Winter Guard. I'm checking something. Probably deciding to have them go next. Yep. So they're gonna bob and weave, and took a solid shot at an errant, mainly just to clear that lane. Then I decide what to do with the knockdown Winter Guard. Oh, so that was Holt that I mean not Holt. That was Joe that fired that shot at the errant that was in the way of the Uhlans. Now we have the Winter Guard go. And they bobbed and weaved, and I moved this Winter Guard over to the side just to check melee range on the Reckoner to see if he was engaging the Rocketeer, and he was not engaged, so he lobbed the rocket, killed a choir member. Gotta start killing them as soon as possible. We actually checked the range of my melee gauge, and he said that it was a tiny bit short. So that basically means that that thing's not as reliable as I suspected. So now I'm doing more CRAs into the Reckoner, because that's what they're really here for. They're here as a toolbox unit to take out heavies, to clear out swaths of infantry, to get in the way. I really like Winter Guard with Vlad 3 because of all the things that they do for the low amount of points that they cost. Then Fenris goes, he walks up to start attacking these errants, then he berserks. Actually, no, that was a self-sacrifice to stop his berserk, and there he goes again, and it's Fenris right there. I forgot that about self-sacrifice stopping berserk, killing only 2 models in the process, so I was really hoping that Fenris would clear them. So I commit Vlad, and Vlad feats, and now he's doing his initial melee attacks. He did cast dash, so he then sidesteps. He procs one from... He's now doing a flashing blade. He kills. There's another flashing blade. Well, this is still the flashing blade. Attacks, and he's killing models outright. So now he has blood quenched, probably 2 or 3. I want to say 2. So now he's doing an initial attack. He did a flashing blade with the Huntsman, which is his mace. That way he doesn't run out of sidestep targets after he's doing his initial attacks. So now he sidesteps over. Then he's checking his melee range. And he moves over ever so slightly, still checking melee range because he wants to flashing blade with Huntsman again, as it is the highest power of the 3 weapons that he has. Now, since he has Combat Rider, his mount essentially counts as a weapon for the sake of sidestep. And I'm still deciding what to do, what weapon to use. So I do cast Flashing Blade. I use his spear this time, that way I can catch more guys. And I'm not really doing much to the Temple Flame Guard. I kill one of them. And then I do another Flashing Blade, which hits and kills him. Another one hits and kills. Actually, no, there's nothing happening to them. I kill one. Now, I updated the blood quenched count on Vlad. It's probably at 5 or 6 right now. It's quite high. So then he flashing blades again with the spear, and he causes tough rolls, and he's not killing anyone else. So now he sidesteps, well, not sidesteps. He sprints back. Then we have the Uhlans go. They issue a charge order, and they charge. This guy charges the Crusader, and now I'm deciding, yeah, he does do an impact attack. So since the Temple Flame Guard have set defense, their defense 15, so he needs 9s to hit on the impacts, and he doesn't really do anything. So then he impacts again, and he misses that impact attack. Then this Uhlan charges a Temple Flame Guard. He decides to impact attack. Actually, no, he does not. So these are charge attacks going on the Crusader. Then we have a charge attack going on the Temple Flame Guard. Again, set defense occurring. That kills a Temple Flame Guard. So that should have triggered a sidestep right here with this leader model that's base to base with the flag. So I'm either thinking, yeah, I forget about the sidestep completely, and also the sprint. So now I have the Manor Dragoon go. He charges, or he walks up and kills, and then he sprints away to be next to Vlad. So basically my feat turn isn't as good as it should have been, but I also went after Iron Zealed Temple Flame Guard with very low power and not a lot of infantry models to proc off of. So Markov goes, he hides behind the wall, and the turn passes over to Harbinger. the Harbinger goes, allocates, looks like 2 over to the Reckoner, then another 2 to the Crusader, and a full load on the Reckoner on the farthest away from the camera that's behind the hill. Now the Temple Flame Guard go, and they shield wall once again, and they're looking to make attacks on these Uhlans. And they do have spears that set models on fire, although they're only POW 10s. He's mainly doing it more for the fire, and he's also doing CMAs onto the Uhlans. So this hits and sets the Uhlan on fire, but it kills him anyway. And we have another CMA going at this Uhlans here that's in front of the Crusader, and that kills that Uhlans. Man, a bunch of pokey spears are killing my horses. That's not nice. So now this Uhlans is set on fire, and I don't think that kills him. Yeah, it doesn't, since he took no damage. And he's still fearless because he's within the command range of Markov, who's behind the wall that is next to Vlad. So now looks like the book went, and he's probably putting up no knockdown once again. Then he's deciding what to do next. He points over to Harbinger, considering what to do something with her. Probably not, though, as he's still deciding what to do. So he has this Reckoner that's with the Winter Guard go, and he charges Eiryss. So I have the Manor Dracoon countercharge the Reckoner, and we're checking to see if he's in reach range. And I think he wasn't. Oh, he's trampled over to... Yeah, of course he trampled. He wouldn't have a charge lane. So yeah, he trampled over these Winter Guard and he kills a bunch of them. So the officer took a bunch of damage at Tufts. I did get the counter charge off, so that's what that's a huge amount of damage that this Reckoner took. And it looks like 16 points, if I see my dice correctly. Yeah, that's 16 points. That's a huge chunk taken out right there. That, in fact, actually ripped out his cortex. So all the focus that he had on him, it went away. So Eiryss is still alive. Nicely done, Dracoon. Now, he rolled something. Oh, for a rack. He pulled the focus off of a rack, and I think that rack exploded. Now we have Reckoner charge going at Beast 09. Yep, it's going on Beast. So Beast takes a bunch of damage, and that was just the assault shot. And now he takes a bunch of damage on the charge attack. I'm so lost. I'm so sorry, guys. At least I'm doing much better with this one than the first episode. So now we have probably the Crusader's gonna go. I'm surprised that the Reckoner wasn't able to do more damage than to Beast 09, because you can see the card that's right above the reach gauge. Now he walks over to Beast 09, and the Uhlans takes a free strike with his POW 10 spear. But he does do some damage to the Crusader. So now the Crusader goes, and he's smacking away at Beast 09. And that's a nice big wallop, as you can see on the card. There's a lot more damage on there than there used to be. So now he's still smacking away, and Beast 09 dies. Just like that. So now I have 3 heavies to deal with, and I have no idea how to deal with it. Since most of my armor cracking it went away quite fast. So now my turn goes, Vlad goes, and fire does not go off on that Uhlans. Then he upkeeps Hand of Fate, and he's deciding what to do now. So I'll have Fenris charge the Standard Bearer, and that kills him. He berserks onto a Temple Flame Guard, and this should kill him. It does, and he toughs. So the second initial goes. Oh, he checked for range of Ashen Veil. Is it Ashen Veil? Whichever the rule is, that it's -2 to attack rolls while within 2 inches of a Reckoner, because of course it needed that. It probably is Ashen Veil. So now Fenris killed. Did he kill any of the Temple Flame Guard? I don't think so. So then I have Joe go. He puts up Fearless and Tough, and he shoots at a choir member, and that choir member dies. Just like that. Still gotta kill him. So now the Winter Guard go, and they're gonna start spraying. Spray party. Rocket Man goes, fires at the choir, and he dies. And there's only one choir member left, and he's A-okay in terms of command. Now I decide what to do with the Winter Guard. Thankfully, the Winter Guard that's right next to the objective has no weapons, so I can spray away, and I get a nice big clump of them. And since I have Hand of Fate, this might do some damage to them. So, oh, he actually charged. That should not have killed him. So they didn't. They just shield. I guess they charged. And here we go with those sprays. Now I'm doing a CRA at his objective, and that didn't do any damage. Then I have the Reckoner go. I'm not Reckoner. Eiryss go, and she walked around the Reckoner not to take a free strike. Oh yeah, the Dragoon's countercharge also knocked out the mace. So that's quite nice. Then I have the dog go, and he charges Reckoner, because it's dog. He does amazing things. And he kills the Reckoner! Oh, dog. And then he does a return to be right next to Vlad, and I make a rule mistake here. I thought Markov has Relentless Charge. I look after the fact he does not. So he charges this Crusader here, and he does some damage to it, but he should not have charged him in the first place. He doesn't have Pathfinder. He should have charged the Reckoner instead for a legal target. But oh well, neither of us caught this, so that's that. Then I have the Manual Dragoon go. He does a mount attack on the Temple Flame Guard, and then he does his normal Annihilator Blade attack on the objective, and that still doesn't do anything to it. So then I have Holt go. He fires at the objective. He does no damage. Second shot goes. He does 1 point of damage, I think. So I'm dedicating a lot of resources to killing his objective, and it's not happening. Then I check kill box since I'm with Vlad's activation, and I'm running out of options still. Not really sure what to do. Aiyana put up stealth on her unit, and now Vlad is. Hold on, Mike. Vlad just he casts dash and he just walks over to the hill, and I have the Uhlans go and charge the objective to finally finish it off. Now turn passes over to Harbinger, and he allocates 3 to. What's that behind the Uhlans? No, that might be his arc node. Yes, it is. That is his arc node, and he also has some allocated over to the Crusader. Looks like 2 focus. Then he's deciding what to do, and then he activates the Temple Flame Guard. He does shield wall this time, and that puts some damage on Fenris. And he's deciding what to do now. And he's asking about the defensive stats on Vlad and how much focus he has on him. And then he also asks about Markov's weapons. Then he moves up, he takes an abomination check, and I think he failed it, but it was at the command of Harbinger, so he was able to pass. And the Reckoner swings at Fenris, and he fails his tough roll and he dies. And now he's buying attacks onto Markov, and Markov dies as well. And all of a sudden, that looks like it's freeing up a charge lane for the Crusader that's staring down at Vlad. Oh boy, that's not so good. So now Harbinger goes, she checks her control area, and he's deciding what to do next. So now the Crusader goes, and he's charged Vlad. He also put up Crusader's Call, by the way. So that takes a free strike from the Manor Dragoon, and that does 10 points to his 5. And actually, that free strike never occurs, as we just checked it. And he does his charge attack, which lands, and that does a bunch of damage to Vlad. Then he does another attack, hits, and that kills Vlad right there. So I left a heavy with a charge lane to Vlad and didn't really see it until it moved over to his turn. And as a result, I just get charged and punched in the face with a giant Menoth heavy. So that ends this game with 1 control point for me, 0 for him. But I lost on assassination. And that's that. Thanks for watching, and you can find the lists in the video description below, as well as a Facebook link to the channel. So please like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next News from the Front episode. Happy wargaming.